The Great Virtue of Wisdom of Nagarjuna. Etienne Lamotte. Composed by the Bodhisattva Nagarjuna and translated by the Tripitaka Kumarajiva of the land of Kucha. Under the later sin. Translated from the French. By Galongma Karma Migmi Chodron 1. Chapter 33, The Four Immeasurables and the Four Formless Absorptions. First section, The Four Immeasurables. I. Definition of the immeasurables. The four immeasurable feelings are loving-kindness, compassion, joy and equanimity. Maitri, loving-kindness, is to think about beings with love and always to seek for the safety and happy things in order to bring them good. Karuna, compassion, is to think with compassion of beings who are suffering in the five destinies, all sorts of bodily suffering and mental suffering. Mudita, joy, is to wish that beings obtain joy as a result of happiness. Apexa, equanimity, is to abandon the three previous feelings and think of beings without either aversion or fondness. Maitri, loving-kindness, is practiced to remove hostility toward beings. Karuna, compassion, is practiced to remove harm toward beings. Mudita, joy, is practiced to remove dissatisfaction toward beings. Apexa, equanimity, is practiced to remove sensual attachment and hostility toward others. Question. The four immeasurables. The four formless absorptions, the 8 liberations, the 8 masteries, the 9 successive absorptions and finally the 10 spheres of totality are already contained in the 4 trances. Why speak of them separately here? Answer. Although all these things are contained in the 4 jhanas, if they are not mentioned separately by name, the particular virtues would not be known. It is like precious objects in a sack. If you do not open the sack to take them out, nobody can know about them. 1. For those who want to obtain great merit, one should talk about the 4 immeasurables. 2. In order to inspire disgust for visibles, like spending time in prison, one should talk about the 4 formless absorptions. 3. To those who cannot obtain mastery over objects so as to see objects at will, one should speak about the 8 masteries. 4. To those who take blocked paths and do not succeed in freeing the obstacles, one should speak of the 8 liberations. 5. To untamed minds that cannot merge from one trance in order to enter into the others successively, one should speak of the 9 successive absorptions. 6. To those who do not possess complete illumination on all objects in order to liberate them at will, one should speak of the 10 totalities. When one thinks about the beings of the 10 directions, wishing them to obtain happiness, a mental event occurs called maitri. The aggregates associated with this maitri, feelings, concepts, formations and consciousnesses, give rise to bodily actions, vocal actions and formations dissociated from the mind. The group of these dharmas is called maitri. Since they are loving-kindness or arise with loving-kindness as dominant, these dharmas are given the name of maitri. In the same way, all minds and all mental events, although they are all causes and conditions of future actions, are called cittena because, among their activities, thinking is the strongest. It is the same for karuna, compassion, mudita, joy, and apexa, equanimity. This maitri, loving-kindness, occurs in the form realm. It is impure or pure, to be destroyed or not to be destroyed. It also occurs in the 4 root trances and again in the dhyānantara variation of the first dhyāna. Associated with the 3 sovereign organs, it excludes the faculty of unpleasantness and the faculty of dissatisfaction. This is all explained in detail in the Abhidharma. When maitri, loving-kindness, still grasps the nature of the beings towards whom the loving-kindness is expressed, it is impure. When, after having understood the nature of beings, it enters into the true nature of dharmas, it is pure. This is why the Wou Sin Yipo Sa when that which has beings as object that which has things as object that which has no object Aspects of the immeasurables. 1. Loving-kindness, compassion and joy. Question. What are the aspects of these four immeasurables? Answer. As the Buddha said everywhere in the Sutras. With a mind associated with loving-kindness. Free of enmity. Free of hostility. Free of rivalry. Free of malice. Extended. Expanded. Immense and well cultivated. The bhiksu intentionally includes in this mind of loving-kindness the beings of universes in the eastern direction. Then he intentionally includes in this mind of loving-kindness the beings of the universes of the 10 directions. Those of the south, the west, the north, of the 4 intermediate directions, of the zenith and the nadir. And in the same way, he includes them by means of a mind associated with compassion, associated with joy and associated with equanimity. A. Maitrisahagatena cittena. With a mind associated with loving-kindness. Maitri, loving-kindness, is a mental event capable of counteracting the corruptions contained in the mind, namely, hatred, hostility, avarice, lust, and the other passions. Thus, when the purifying pearl is placed in dirty water, it becomes clear. B. Avarananupannahina cittena. With a mind free of enmity and free of hostility. Let us suppose that with or without reason, one hates someone. If one wants to insult him, curse him, strike him or rob him, this is enmity. If one waits for the proper moment and, given the chance, one torments him with all one's strength, this is hostility. Since maitri, loving-kindness, counteracts both these things, it is said to be free of enmity and hostility. C. A. Sapatnina Bhayavadyena cittena. With a mind free of rivalry and free of malice. Hostility is rivalry. The first offensive movement is of hostility. In time, hostility becomes rivalry. When one inflicts torment by means of physical and vocal actions, this is malice. Furthermore, the fetter hostility is called enmity. When enmity increases, is prolonged and becomes attached to but not yet fixed in the mind, it takes the name of hostility. And also rivalry. When the mind is determined and no longer has any scruples, this is called malice. Because the power of Maitrisahagatena rejects, abandons and leaves behind these three things, it is said to be free of enmity, free of hostility, free of rivalry and free of malice. The Buddha praised Maitrisahagatena in regard to this fourfold exemption. All beings fear suffering and are attached to happiness. Enmity is cause and condition for suffering, and maitri, loving-kindness, is cause and condition for happiness. Beings who hear it said that this concentration of loving-kindness can chase away suffering and bring happiness become mindful, brave and full of energy to practice this meditative stabilization, and this is why they are without enmity, without hostility, without rivalry and without malice. D. Vipallina, Mahadgatina Pramanina cittena. With a vast, expanded, immense mind. This mind is single, but as its magnitude differs, there are 3 attributive adjectives used. This mind is vast when it includes one single region, extended when it goes far and high, immense when it includes the nadir and the other 9 regions. Furthermore, if it is low, maitri, loving-kindness, is called vast, middling, it is called